Hello, Hester from Master Reviews here, and well, let's get started. For Love and Thunder. So, the next movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and is it becoming apparent that it's the second time I've seen fans get a bit divided with this? With a Marvel movie. The show's been doing great, but well, I'm not sure if this is getting as much. Whether people are more mixed over this or Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. But I will admit, while it's not as great as Ragnarok, it's still a pretty good movie, Alright, let's get on to the story. Taking place after an Endgame, Thor is traveling with the Guardians of the Galaxy, trying to find a new path, but, is clearly struggling, and with life after trying to be who he really is. When all of a sudden he gets a contact, and all of a sudden then he leaves the Guardians when he receives a contact from an old friend who informs him that a mysterious villain known as Gore, the God Butcher, played by Christian Bale, has been slaughtering all the gods and is determined to kill him next. Gore abducts all the children from New Asgard, and in order to draw Thor out, so it's up to the God of Thunder to go after him to save the children, along with Valkyrie, Korg, and making her return his ex-girlfriend Jane Foster, who has reconstructed Mjolnir and has become the hero Mighty Thor. So let's start off with the good stuff. Let's start off with the action is still as great as ever as from Ragnarok. Not too many big spectacles like say Thor's battle with the Hulk, but there are some good stuff, especially when Thor has to save the kid. Finally saves the kids. That's one of my favorite moments, and there are some other good ones too, like Jane finally using her powers to her best ability. The humor is good. Taika Waititi, his signature humor is still there, whether he himself is saying it as Korg or Chris Hemsworth's doing it. It's still there, and there's even some good humor with Gore the God Butcher. Well, we'll discuss now. Actually, I think he's actually the best original villain that we've got. Well, newly introduced villain in these recent Marvel runs. Not killing. I'm taking the shows out, but in terms of the movies, he's okay. He's not He's not as good as Tony Leung as the Mandarin, but he is still he is a pretty good villain. In terms of the villains we've got this year, he's definitely the best. I say it with big major stipulation. I say he's the best this year. I will discuss more about the villains, especially when I review Miss Marvel next week. The performances are still there. As I said, Christian Bale is as good as Gore. You've of course got the returns of Chris Hemsworth, Taika Waititi, Tessa Thompson, Natalie Portman. I think this is her best performance in the Marvel Cinematic Universe yet. All the actors from the Guardians of the Galaxy are good in it. Some pretty unique cameo from Crackle, though. Sean Gunn did a good job with that. And even the returning actors that we haven't seen. Jamie Alexander as Sif, good to see her around. It's good to see it. I will admit, how they handled the old elements from Thor 1 and the Dark World that they took away from Ragnarok, and how they brought them back for this, it's good to see, It's at least good that they acknowledged them outside of mentioning off-screen how things went for them after the snap. Any other music, love the 80s music, 80s rock music. Sweet Child of Mine is a good choice to use for this movie. It's excellent. So let's start off with my cons. Well, first off, they weren't too big used a lot in the advertisement. I was expecting a lot more of the Guardians of the Galaxy. I knew going into it, I pretty much knew Gamora wouldn't appear in it. They would be saving her for the holiday special in Volume 3 next year, but I don't know, I would have liked them to appear a lot more than they did outside of just the first couple of minutes, you know. And certain new characters, well, as I said, well, I like Gore the God Butcher. And some of the kids are alright, you know. Not everyone is good. Russell Crowe as Zeus, I mean, he had some good moments, but he wasn't. I feel like he could have been used a lot more. I mean, and even though they do set up some future things for him and some things for him in the future, it's hard to not say that he could have been a little bit. There could have been a lot more. The finale, how it ends, could be controversial with how, because of the way fans were building up how this movie would end. But I'm not going to spoil what happens. But let's just say you're either going to be accepting it or you're not. To me, I accepted it. Besides, I was kind of hoping to see something like this. Especially when you look at the Marvel Wiki on the Snap, you know, I'm not going to go into it anymore, but, you know, when you look at the victim side, you know, I'm not going to go anymore. And then there's Thor's arc of the film. His main arc is supposedly to find inner peace. Well, I don't really think that was his main thing. I mean, yes, he's trying a bit of, you know, he's doing a bit of meditation at the beginning, but that's really it. It's just that one moment. Once the Guardians tell him he needs to help him out, you know, he's back out there, and he's still a likable person. You know, he's great at combat. You know, he's still willing to help out. You know, all that. Of course, he's also trying to figure out acceptance of, you know, trying to find love again, considering how many people he's lost over the years. Which, okay, that I think is more of a growth of Thor trying to, you know, learn to, you know, open his heart a bit more after how much he's lost over the last over Ragnarok and Infinity War and Endgame. So, you know, that I can understand, but the arc that he's supposedly finding inner peace, I don't think that's really it. Plus, an extra note, it just feels like this is a there are a lot of cameos in this of people who have worked with Chris Hemsworth in the past. I mean, his brother Luke, he's back as the Thor actor in the Play series, along with Matt Damon. There you go. You've got his kids, all make appearances in it. His sons play younger versions of Thor, and his daughter is one of the kids in it. You know, and even one of his others. You know, some of the actors who start with him on Home and Away are in. I mean, Indiana Evans. I was surprised to see her in it. I haven't seen her in anything major as of late. Yeah, she's one of Zeus's heiresses, you know. He's Concord, I should say. And there's a few others too who have worked with Hemsworth in the past. I'm like, yeah, he's just brought them in, you know, to give him work during the pandemic. At least that's what I think. But, you know, and you know, there was supposed to... I'm sure people have noticed that originally, Jeff Goldblum was supposed to be back in as the Grandmaster, and Peter Dinklage was supposed to return as E-Tree from Infinity War, and they're not in it. The scene got deleted, similar to what happened with Harry Holland's cameo in No Way Home, and as well as Lexi Rabe was supposed to return as Morgan Stark in No Way Home as well, but their scenes got deleted. So, yeah. But with that said, I think Thor Love and Thunder is pretty good, honestly. I think it was... And let's be fair, it could have dipped way low. It could have dipped to the areas of Dark World, you know. But, you know, overall, I think it's a fun time. I think this is probably weaker, definitely, than Multiverse of Madness, but it's still a good movie. Besides, let's just say, I enjoyed this more than... Actually, I've enjoyed this more than Ms. Marvel, and I will discuss that in my next video. Okay, one of my next videos. Who knows? I might actually get a review done of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Just saying. But in the meantime, I give this a 7.5 out of 10 has-does. I liked it. It's not as good as Ragnarok, but you know, still a fun movie. So yes, my next two videos. One is Obi-Wan Kenobi. The other is Ms. Marvel. I don't know which one will come out first. I probably say that will be Kenobi. It just depends whether I can find the time to do it. But if I before next Thursday, but if I don't, then it will be Miss Marvel. But that's it. So this is Hazza from Hazza Reviews out, and I shall see you for my next video. Ciao.